welcome everybody to my stream. You've been on the Worldbuilders Weekly stream before, but I would love if everybody here would take a brief moment to introduce themselves, and maybe starting with Gray up there in the corner.
Hi there, I'm Gray Miller. I'm the executive director at Worldbuilders, and I am a lifelong geek. I don't know what are the questions I'm supposed to answer here aside from Pat. I'm a big fan of a lot of things, and at some point I'm going to read Pat's books. I hear they're really good. And
actually, that's hysterical. Have you actually never read my book?
No, I've read your books.
Oh man, I was actually I got really excited.
I haven't read Slow Regard. I will admit that. I have not read that one yet. I'm saving that.
Well, at some point over this next 2 weeks, I probably will be reading part of it on the stream.
Awesome.
Yeah. And also, just for clarification, you say, "Oh, I'm a geek," and this is not me asking for credentials or proof, but I would say, like, what flavor of geekery really fills your heart with joy? We're trying to focus on joy this year, so fair. I want to know, like, what brings you geeky joy?
I started playing D&D with the Red Box. I was a Star Trek, the original series, was raised on that, so I've been a Trekkie my whole life. I think Discovery is awesome. And let's see, I'm a theater geek. I have a degree in the theater arts type things, and I have been doing all kinds of things in media and web design and computers and stuff. So those are the kinds of geeks I am. What I am not is a very good board game geek. I am severely lacking in my board game knowledge. So, and my video game knowledge, to be fair. I think the last time I mastered a video game, it was an Atari. Ooh. So, yeah.
All right. That is I'm not asking for a resume, but that's an impressive resume. And now over here, what looks like to be my right, Zay. Could you let these fine folks know a little something about you?
Hey guys, so if you join Worldbuilders Weekly, you know I'm the assistant director of Worldbuilders. I loathe that Gray and I's names rhyme.
That's the reason we hired you.
I am a lover of Ren fairs. I have a full suit of leather nomadic-based armor. I'm also a history nerd. Love ancient Eastern nomadic cultures. Big old into old school gaming. I got my Zelda from old timey Link to the Past through Breath of the Wild. Currently playing, and it's amazing. Please play it.
Brief question: Eastern nomadic cultures, is that like Indus Valley River? River Valley?
Eastern nomads. So yeah, it stretches everything from the Pontic Caspian steppe all the way over by the Wei River.
Man, okay, I want to have a weird, very specific talk with you. And now let's do Jason.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Jason Woods. I'm a writer and editor for Heifer International, and geek flavors. Board games. I love board games. I love comic books. As we talked about last time, dogs. I'm a geek for dogs.
And that's what I will say. This need not be merely geek flavor. I just want to know, like, what makes you happy? What do you do that you love?
Yeah, playing board games and hanging out with dogs.
You know, that sounds like a good life. Jamie?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jamie. I am the outreach coordinator for Worldbuilders, and I geek out on books, as you can see. I love art, art history geek, and when I can, I play video games, board games, tabletop games. I especially love tabletop role-playing games, and the storytelling that goes along with them. Listen to a lot of live play TTRPG podcasts. And the geek community itself is kind of my geek passion. So, you all.
Oh, do you mind if I say, like, what sort of role playing, what sort of actual play podcasts are flipping your switch these days?
So right now, one of my very favorites is Dimension 20. It's a pretty big one, but specifically the Trinity Vale arc is one of my very favorites right now. It's the first arc that I've ever heard a dungeon master default to they, them pronouns and use a lot of different types of people. They're really great about filling their games with a lot of vibrant characters. So I definitely recommend the Dimension 20 stuff.
That's Brendan, right?
Yeah, it's Brendan Lee Mulligan does a bunch of he does the I'm gonna like blank on my names, but that's Brendan Lee Mulligan, and then the Trinity Vale dungeon master is Caldwell Tanner. So
I will say Brendan is a delight, and I have just gotten introduced to him and found out that we kind of have been fans of each other for a while. As Zay knows, I ripped off his style from College Humor to do our Jamdrian commercial. Mm-hmm. I'm not making any promises because we don't have it written down yet, but I think Brendan might be kind of cruising through this fundraiser at some point.
That'll make me geek out. That brings me geek joy for sure.
I'll also say he guested into One Shot Podcast with a Sleepaways one shot, which is just a source of joy. And Beth.
Hey, I am Beth, and I do the digital marketing for Worldbuilders. I also do some media production, so I do some photography. I also do some very important lighting design, as everybody in the chat knows, and it's a joke that will never end. And also video editing for a lot of the videos that come up. So a lot of the videos that we've done in the past 6 months or so, I've had a hand in usually. So, and that's the bulk of it. Other than that, there's managerial miscellaneous that needs to get done.
Cool. So, I mean, I know how I do things over here, which is to say haphazardly and enthusiastically. But since we are sort of leading off with a Worldbuilders Weekly themed thing, I'll say, so what do you guys normally do at, like when you start a stream, how would you like to start here?
Gray, you're still muted.
I was trying to be respectful of everyone else. We actually have a little bit of a tradition for Worldbuilders Weekly, which we do every Tuesday at this time. And we have a Trivia Tuesday because one of our people who work here at Worldbuilders, I don't even know if you knew this, Pat, but since Stevens Point is the home of trivia, she took it up one extra level of geekiness and actually got married at the annual trivia event here in Stevens Point.
You know, I am not surprised, but I don't think I knew.
Yeah. So, Jenny3 is her name, and she comes up with all these great trivia questions. So every week we put it out there, and then we answer what the last week's one was, and then we put out the new question, and then people put in their DMs to us through any of the social media channels, and they get entered into a chance to win a monthly prize. And in fact, we have the prize to announce here today. So that's normally what we would do at the beginning of our Worldbuilders Weekly.
Okay. Do you wanna drive that bus?
Sure, and I will drive that bus the way I usually do by throwing my associates under it. I
am very good at doing the Spider-Man land on top of a bus by now.
Yeah,
I know.
I could start off some trivia.
Go ahead, Zay.
Let me wipe the tire marks off my face. We always start with our old trivia question. For those of you who are in Pat's stream that don't come to ours, for this old question, if you know it, you won't be entered into the prize because it's already done, but you can throw it into the chat just to participate. The new one that comes after this, do not put it in the chat, please. Put it in DMs. That's just a little caveat there. So for our old trivia question, in the classic fantasy book Watership Down, the characters speak a fictional language invented by the author. What is the Lapine word for an automobile? Jason, do you happen to ever see this or have any inkling at the answer.
Watership Down is like a classic for me.
I think I've read Watership Down, but I think it's been such a very long time. So I'm drawing a blank.
I also wasn't really positive about this one. All right. The answer is, Gray, do you know how to say this?
I do not.
Roo-roo-roo. I don't know. Is that right?
Purdue-doo? Purdue-doo.
Roo-roo-roo.
No, and I see Nate Taylor thinks that it was Grogu, which I won't give away whose name that is, but no, that would be probably the little sibling of Grogu.
Cranky Head, I don't know if you said it before me, but yeah, you had it.
No.
Roo-roo-doo.
Grogu is from Dragon Ball Z. Nate, you're
That's Goku.
no, he's my go-to.
So we have the winner for, that was last week. Last week was the final trivia for last month, which means we have this month's winner. So announcing, drumroll, Miranda Lauren C. is our winner. Thank you so much for answering, I believe, 2 or 3 different trivia questions last month. We're in touch. Send us up your address and we will send you a prize. You are our November trivia champion. Woo!
Congratulations.
And the first question for this next month, I can take it, is it's a real tricky one. And I think you guys in chat might have a hard time with it.
So complex.
There's the warning. But remember, don't put your answer into chat. DM it to a World Builders social media account. That means Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, our Twitch account. Don't send it to Pat's Twitch account. He's not checking those messages. Send it to us.
Hey, now you're assuming a lot.
Well,
I mean, but you're
not
right.
checking our messages. But
Don't tell him we're checking his messages.
No messages. Everything to the World Builders accounts, and that will enter you to win to be our December trivia champion. So remember, not in chat, in DMs. Here's the question. What is the hashtag for this year's end-of-year fundraiser by World Builders benefiting Heifer International? What is the hashtag? And if you send that to any of our social media accounts, you'll be entered to win as the December trivia champion.
So I can't help but wonder, what sort of fabulous things could I win if I could answer that question?
Well, so far this year, I know we have sent out a Rat Queens t-shirt. I'll be honest, I try to do a little bit of special picking and choosing based off of a tiny bit of social media stalking of the person who wins to see if they might best like a book or a t-shirt or something of the like. But yeah, if Peepa, the World Builders Market, that's where I do a little prize gremlin draw. We've got t-shirts, we've got books that we've sent. I think we sent a 3-pack of comics to a winner. So all sorts of really fun prizes to be had.
The World Builders Market, I don't know if I've ever heard of that before. What is that?
The World Builders Market is we're really a bookstore. We're mainly a bookstore online. We are a New York Times reporting bookstore. We like to sell various geeky books, especially ones that are either rare foreign editions or signed books if we're lucky. We've done custom book plates, but we also work with creators and other designers to, I think you put it, Pat, as create things the geeky world needs and didn't know it. So like, for example, my partner Natasha has a pair of the Iron Druid writing gloves that she loves, is a big fan of Kevin Hearn's Iron Druid thing. We recently created a big blanket in collaboration with Story Arts that has the Owlery and the Moon design that Nate Taylor created. We do prints, we do special cosplay type things. There's an example of a book and book plate from Naomi Novik that we did signing with. So yeah, we do things like that. And mugs. Yeah, somebody put in there, don't forget the mugs. Yes, we sell various kinds of mugs, like from the Aeolian or from McAnally's or things like that.
Yeah, so I've never actually visited this store, but it seems like it would be kind of an exciting place if I liked, say, books or games, or oh, look at this. There's a would there be any sales ever? I mean, I do like bargains.
As it happens, we have a sale going on right now because we didn't think that the whole Black Friday idea was a good idea. So we are doing instead, as I pull it off, the dumpster fire sale.
Oh.
The 2020 dumpster fire sale. And we didn't do it just for the weekend. It started on last Friday, but it's going to go on until the 7th. So you can do all kinds of deals there, 10 to 50% off the entire store.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a real bargain, and I hope that somebody in my chat would drop many links there. And
it also includes this print is available, and our first 500 orders have a sticker of this included for free.
So I'm assuming that if people buy things from that store, then there is probably some older white man with a vested interest who will wears a monocle and a top hat, and all the money that's produced goes into a big Scrooge McDuck vault, and he just swims around in it, and he gets weird and he's just like, yes, all of my money, thank you for giving it to me, because that's just how capitalism works, right?
Why of course.
No,
do
it the other way. No,
they found you out. Oh, sorry.
I'm being the foil, damn it.
Okay, sorry. Drop my lines. No, we are a 501c3. Zay, why don't you talk about what kind of work we do and things?
We are a pass-through charity. We are a special pass-through charity because all of the pass-through donations that we raise are 100% pass-through to that organization. I know, it's almost unheard of. The way that we support ourselves so that we are able to do that is by Worldbuilders Market. We also have a capacity fundraiser that we do once a year. And then we have our biggest pass-through charity at the end of year, which is happening right now for Heifer International. Jason Woods, who is here with us, who loves dogs and board games, will talk a little bit about Heifer and also hopefully some dogs, because that's why I'm here. I think that sums it up.
But the money vault does still exist. It's full of gold coins, and people just swim in it. And then I'm assuming y'all use it to throw parties and eat a lot of cake.
Only with permission from our dragon, though.
Okay, since y'all are dropping this very low fastball like this, I'm lobbing them up for you. Let me do it. No, wait. I am pretty sure that all of that money goes directly to creators, and what it doesn't go to creators then helps Worldbuilders keep the lights on. And then if there's extra money, then Worldbuilders uses that directly to donate to charities, including Heifer International.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah?
We can actually, we actually have a map that shows the various places that we've used that money, both with Heifer and with places outside of Heifer as well. So yeah, you're right. If you go to worldbuilders.org/map, I know that's a complicated URL. I'll say it again. worldbuilders.org/map. You can see a whole bunch of the different programs that we've done in the past year and past years.
Okay. Now, actually, you've done a wonderful thing, Gray, but it means that now I actually haven't seen this yet, but I'm
gonna geek out.
I'm very excited. So I'm going to cover up everyone's faces with my Chrome browser. And I'm going to, you know what? I heard that, but I'm a slow thinker. So I'm just going to say, hey, Google, can you hook a brother up? Can I build world? Everyone, there's this cool new thing called Google Builders. No, okay, an auto-filled market. That's, I mean, in some ways that's nice. But actually, I just want, what about Worldbuilders map? I hear there's a map. Here's Worldbuilders home. I'm going to go look there.
I actually don't know if there's a map.
Google, it might be so new that Google doesn't know about it.
No, that's fine. This got me to the world. Oh, what a beautiful page. I see there's prize draws. I see there's streaming events, auctions. Ooh, I'm curious about auctions, but instead,
up at the top under our work, you can see impact map.
Our work. No, wait, our work impact map. What? Everybody, check this out. I'll be honest. Oh, yeah, I looked directly into the camera, and then I remembered that you can't see my face. Everyone, I have been dreaming and wishing and asking, to the point of sometimes pounding on a table, why can't we get a map of all the places that World Builders money has like gone to help Heifer do cool things over the years? And so here we are. I am going to get lost in this. If you wonder, like, yeah, sure, every charity says they do a cool thing, but what have you really done? Really? Sure, you've raised $10 million, but what have you really done? Here it is. Here's what we've really done, and not just with Heifer, but all over the place. Okay, but now this is cool. I'm so excited, but also I am increasingly feeling bad because I have covered up all of our special guest faces. So that's great. I love that. But I also know that like web development doesn't come free. And so like, that's where like if you buy something in the store, it lets us pay a graphic designer who then in turn buys food, and lives a good life. And then we also get a website that does what we need websites to do. It's the circle of life, except for charity.
Sure.
And it's only hour one, folks.
Pat, the thing about it is that I love the fact we are to some extent kind of subverting capitalism here, because we are geeks. We like to consume things. We like to read things. We like to play games. We like to embody our stories, and this is a way we can do it and also help make change the world for the better. I mentioned I'm a Trekkie. I love the fact that, we're doing work that is trying to make the world into the kind of place where, Star Trek could happen. That's my own geeky thing. So yeah, it's a nice thing to do things you already want to do and also do some good in the world at the same time.
Cool. Okay, so we've done a trivia. I've helped you shill for the store. I don't know if we've talked specifically about the actual fundraiser we're doing yet. Although before, I'll do that. But is there anything else that you typically do in the World Builders Weekly that you'd like to do?
Usually, this is the point at which, so I'll plug World Builders Weekly. Every week, we do a little version of this, much smaller, over on our channel, twitch.tv/worldbuilders. Go give it a follow. And we just kind of do a little update show with our trivia and then what's going on this week, what might be on sale in the store. We usually have guests, or we often have guests, authors, illustrators, all sorts of awesome people to come talk about their geeky passions. And it's something that we kind of want to grow and bring the community in. So go check it out. Go follow World Builders. We're live every Tuesday at noon.
Cool. How about this? There's a bunch of stuff that I kind of want to talk about in the fundraiser, but I only get you guys for the next 25 minutes. So, what if I asked everyone either, what is your favorite thing about Heifer International that you love that they do, or what is your favorite thing or thing that you're most excited about that's happening in the fundraiser that has already launched, right? So like, don't talk about something that's coming. Talk about something that I could conceivably like put up on the screen. I'm going to cover up my hopeless, gormless mug here. And so you'll still be able to see all these other beautiful people. But then I will try to show off these things they're talking about.
Sure.
And here, I think I'm going to start with Jason.
Great. What is my favorite thing about Heifer International? So if anyone's not familiar with Heifer, we're a sustainable development organization, and we work all over the world and have been for 70 plus years. and we work with small scale farmers and try to get them the resources that they need to be successful and not only feed their families and send their kids to school, but also sort of turn their farms into small businesses that continue growing, and then they also help out the other people in the community. So I guess my favorite thing is that we adapt to the situations in the countries where we are, and we work with the farmers to figure out solutions together. So that's going to look different in India than it does in Mexico. But I really appreciate that way of working instead of this top down, like, oh, we know what's right, and this is what you should definitely do. It's a collaborative process.
So if, for example, let's do a little role play. Haha, you didn't know what you were getting into. I come to you, I being a small town or a village, and I say, hey, you're those people that give away goats. We want goats, and we're gonna eat those goats. What is something that might have, what would you do then to work with me, this collective little village, and where might it go other than you just throwing a goat at me?
Yeah. So we would say, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. We know how to work with goats. We do goat farming, and so we would want to start off by getting with the community and looking at the situation and saying, are goats appropriate for this situation? If they're coming to us and saying we want goats, then it probably is appropriate to the situation. And then we would start with education, with training, and make sure that everybody knows how best to take care of those goats, knows how to build the pens that are the healthiest for that goat and keeps the goat safe. We would also do training and education on business practices. And, so it's important to take care of the goat and keep the goat healthy, but it's also important to make sure your bookkeeping is sound and things like that.
Well, hold on. Why would I need to know bookkeeping? It's just a goat. Like, it does milk, and then I drink the milk, right? Why would I need bookkeeping?
Sure. It does milk, and you drink the milk, but eventually you're going to get more and more goats, and you might want to sell those goats to get income so that you can have a savings account for a rainy day.
Where would the extra goats come from? You just give me one goat.
Well, in some cases, you might just get one goat, but in some cases, you might get more than one goat. And in a lot of cases, it's sort of a community gift. So everybody gets their own goat, but then there's also a breeding goat that is there for the entire community. And so these goats are reproducing. And as they're reproducing...
Now, hold on. How to? Actually, I'm not going to ask you to explain that bit.
When a goat loves another goat.
Very much. But although I was sort of playing the straight man here. I didn't know that I legit didn't know this. I'm so glad I was just because I was sort of asking the most basic questions. I didn't know that because I do know that you work in a community, and if you go and you give a bunch of people goats, you also make sure that like someone in town, like everyone can kind of care for their goat, but in the town there's people who can act as like goat doctors. It might be another word for that. I don't know. But so that person then has a job, and then everyone's goats can be cared for better. Like community breeding goats, like, and that like, could you tell me how that works? Like, is that like a goat stud? Please tell me there's a special word for goat stud.
If there is, I don't know it. I know. I'll come back with that.
That'll be a stretch goal for the fun. What was? That's new trivia question, everyone.
Goat buck.
Let's be careful now. This is still early in the day.
Buck.
That's a
Goat buck.
Yeah, so it looks different. There are different systems for different places. So there have been projects we've had where we've had goat breeding centers where it's sort of a very large goat pen, and in some places it's we give everybody female goats, but then the community sort of has a male goat as well.
That is, I kind of assumed that you went in and you said, well, some people have these goats, some people have other goats, but of course you want all the people to have female goats. You don't want to be the only family in town with a male goat, and you try to milk it and everyone laughs at you. Which actually happened to my dad. That's a different story. But that's actually great. And see, this, everyone, is why Heifer International makes such a difference in the world. And I will say, like, a lot of people every year, people kind of like, I write a blog about the charity. I write a blog about Heifer International, and then some person, a certain type of person, who feels that they're not doing their civic duty if they do not take like a 3-pound sledge to everyone else's cool thing to try to like prove that it's wrong or bad. And they're like, this is unethical. Like, these charities mistreat animals or da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not saying that all animal donation charities are great. In fact, I have done the research and I know that some of them, like, you're dealing with living creatures and you're interacting with ecologies. And like, I mean, right now, like, Australia is boned because of all the rabbits. Like, and they brought those rabbits in as a food crop initially. So that can go real wrong. But one of the things Heifer does, and I've heard the stories where people come to you and they're like, hey, how about them goats? And you're like, actually, like, your soil is kind of dry and you're living in kind of a mountainous area. This is really going to promote soil erosion if we give you goats. But like, everyone here eats out of a garden that they personally own. How about some fruit trees? And that will prevent soil erosion, and you get a cash crop and diversity in your diet. Also, how about some chickens? And then you have eggs, and then you have a little fertilizer for the garden. Also, the chickens eat pests in the garden. And then also, how about some bees? And so suddenly they have honey, wax, fruits, nuts. All of those are cash crops. All of those provide dietary diversity. But also their gardens, which they were already working in and eating out of most every day of their lives, are producing at like 300% efficiency because there's shade and better soil and better water retention, fewer pests and better pollinators. It's like, and honestly, I think this is why my community, like my people, the geeks, are like, oh, it's like anybody who's ever played a resource manager can look at these pieces and go, why wouldn't I put bees next to my garden? Because then I get twice as much. Bees are OP. Like, also, wait, and honey? Like, that's ridiculous. So, Heifer International, gaming the food system. Now we'll need to workshop that. I'm getting you a new tagline.
I think bees are OP is a great tagline.
Bees are OP. I want a t-shirt now. Bees are OP. That'll be a stretch goal. And just for example, I know because I've memorized this over the years, $30, everyone in the chat, $30 is enough to give people out there in the world the training, tools, education, to have their own like hives of bees, and not just but like a little bee ecology, and then also the knowledge of how to swarm those bees and make new hives, and also then you can sell in a hive of bees is great because then you make a lump of money that you can use to improve your house or pay for medicine. And then someone else in the community has bees, and so everyone still benefits from the bees. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about bees. And I want to hop over. We got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to go to Jamie. I'm going to say, what are you most excited about in terms of either Heifer or the fundraiser itself?
Well, the thing is, this is my true honest answer, and it's a little bit more of the same of what we've been saying, but my favorite thing about Heifer is how much they customize what they're doing for the community. What you guys were just talking about, I think, is really important in terms of sustainability of like the overall health of charity. I've been working in charity for a long time, and I've seen a lot of different approaches. And sometimes people have this, well, if we just infuse infuse some resources and cash, they'll figure it out. And Heifer cares so much about making sure these people use those resources to the best of their ability, to the greatest impact. And like you said, Jason, it's not about just survival for them anymore. They're able to put a little bit of extra money away. They're able to think about things they've never considered before, and, you know, have access to resources that they just never had the scale of access to. And I think that is like truly miraculous and beautiful. That's like big words, but like, gosh, can you just the concept of changing a whole community's life so much, and they're doing it in a way that will impact it for generations. They're not just saying, let's help this one person. We saw a sad story on Instagram, let's give them $100. They're going in there and saying, here's how you care for it. Here's how you teach your kids to care for it. So I just love it.
I love it the most. And I see you're helping a family. I see you're helping a community. The story I love, when I sell someone on Heifer International, and I always say, you know, hey, remember the Korean War? And if they're American, maybe they don't, because we have very short memories. But then I say, there's a place called Korea. And then there was a war. It was very bad. It lasted a long time. And at the end of it, like, whenever there's a huge conflict, the people who really suffer are the people at ground level, you know, farmers, citizens, folks who were struggling before now struggle more, because people with guns either blow your shit up or they take what you have because they want to eat, and they're tougher than you, which is a shitty way for the world to work. So Heifer's like, boy, those folks could maybe use some help. What's a good help there? What goes on here? What would fit with the ecology? What would fit with their culture? And what's immediately doable? And they were like, well, chickens. And so they went in, and I mean, these folks already knew chickens. And so they brought in chickens, but also they taught maybe a little bit different animal husbandry stuff. Maybe they provided some supplies, and they went in. And again, I want to mention kind of what you implied there is Heifer does something called passing on the gift, where they help people to get a sustainable, reliable source of food and income in their life. And chickens do that because chickens do eggs. You eat the eggs. Extra eggs you sell. Also, spoiler alert, eggs make more chickens. And then those more chickens make more eggs. If you've ever played Minecraft, you know how this works. You can build like this huge chicken farm. Okay, we'll get into that later. But the thing is, then a family that could not make money or rely on feeding their children can move into a place where they have money to spend on what they consider luxuries. And I tell you, what they consider luxuries would break your heart. Because I remember one of my favorite stories was a refugee who got help from Heifer. They got some chickens, and then every bit of money they got, they're like, now we're also going to buy a goat. Now we're also going to do this. And so like with that Heifer training, because they're like, ooh, a goat means better manure, so we can take care of our soil and our garden is better. Ooh, now we're going to buy some mango trees, and so we can eat this. And like after years, they went from like, this dude could maybe make $1 a day as a day laborer if he could get work, to they're getting like $100, like I think it was more than $100 a month just by selling milk. And there's eggs, and there's everything else in their lives. And they're like, now we're taking some of this money and putting it, and we're buying fancy things like chairs for their house, right? So now I know I'm looking directly into the camera here. I'm like, hey, welcome to our stream, everyone. Do you know that there are people in the world, first off, that can't eat? You can get that. Do you know there's people who work for years and then finally feel that they can treat themselves to buying chairs? Now, in some ways, this is almost unthinkable. If you're watching this on Twitch, you're like, I mean, chairs is something people throw away. I can get one off a curb, which is how I lived most of my student life. So we're not a charity. We're not a charity.
You weren't going to go there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to. But what we do here at World Builders is we help Heifer go in and let people take control of their lives and make their own money. And then they're like, you know what we really need is medicine, tin for our roof, a stove that doesn't burn firewood. And then they can make their lives better and make their own choices and be in control. And to the point of chickens in Korea, and I know this because I read it in some of the World Builder or some of the Heifer literature, these days, it's estimated that 80% of the chickens in all of Korea are descended from Heifer International chickens. And so if you're like me and you want to make the world a better place, and you're like, but gosh, the world is so big, how could I even? I will say $20 does chickens for a family, and it helps that family forever. And endlessly into the future, more chickens. They sell chickens to their neighbors, sell eggs to their neighbors. It's an avalanche of good moving endlessly into the future. Like, if you want to get in on this, like, here's the place to do it right here, right now. Zay, I'm sorry. We're a little pinched on time, but I know there's something here that you got to love that you want to talk about.
I do. I want to talk a little bit about the fundraiser on World Builder side. So not only does $10 get you into the prize draw, and I mean, let's be real, it is a bit of an incentive, but also we want to do something good. So $10 gets you into the prize draw. We got cool stuff, got tons of books, tons of advanced reader copies, signed books, tons of board games, stuff that you guys can win. But also, because this year has just been a dumpster fire, keeping along with our theme here, we wanted to bring something to look forward to, So we also have panels. We also have, a cool auction site. We also have stuff that if you don't have the money to contribute, we still encourage you to participate in any way that you can. It can be spreading the word on social media or just talking to your friends about it. And if all of that, if that all is too much, at the very least, just be around, just enjoy the things that we have. Hop on Twitch, watch our panels. It's free. Everyone is included. And also just the way that our community comes together is something so special, you guys. And that's, that's something that we have a lot of conversations with our contact in Heifer is how we can bring our community and mobilize for a good cause. I just dropped a little link in the chat under Zezzy Olsen. And for instance, that's one person, Karina, who has a song released, Mayfly, who asked if all of the proceeds from that song could also go towards the things that we do here. So
really?
Yeah, so please visit her YouTube channel. That's one act of one person in our amazing community who wants to contribute in the way that they know how. So yeah, check out Karina's channel. That's the YouTube channel I just dropped. If you go on, if you can go on their, what is the word I'm looking for? The site that sells music. God damn it. If you visit there, you can just check it out, and then you can find out the Mayfly song. If you buy it on, I'm blanking the name of.
No, you brought this to my attention, Zay. We're good. I'm going to be talking about this person forever
Thank
now.
you. I'm blanking on the name of the site where you can buy music. iTunes. God damn it, you guys. If you buy me, buy Green on iTunes, that kind of thing. Thank you. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that getting that stuff in my email inbox, you guys. We have somebody who's like, I make chainmail. Can I donate my chainmail as a prize draw? Essence of Aaron, who's in there for AS Woodworking, created a
hey,
don't
be you get to mention one thing and you're already over your limit.
You're right. I'm sorry, but it just makes my heart really full how our community really comes together to promote a really awesome cause, and we get to kind of be this filter through that.
So talented too.
I gotta say, I didn't know about this. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprise.
I'm glad that I was kind of covered up. I got a little weepy. Not that I'm afraid to cry on stream, but I don't want to start there the first hour. Okay. So Beth, Zay she just used up. She talked about way more than one thing. She like so much.
Yeah. Sorry.
So much time.
For those who don't know, Zay and I are constantly back and forth at each other, so it's all good-hearted.
It's fine and better.
So Beth, I am gonna repeat the rules because people got a little out of control here. What is one thing that you're excited about, either about Heifer International, or about the fundraiser itself that you're really excited about?
I'm really excited about 4 more detailed discussions about goat reproduction.
Show up later in my stream tonight. We absolutely will be circling back.
Oh boy. Honestly, just being
actually, that's your one. I said one.
Okay, well then we're done here. I am looking forward to the discussions later, and I hope they are as graphic as what I'm imagining.
Actually, though, do you have a follow up? I'll the judge will allow one quick follow up. That is
not related to goats.
Yeah, it just mostly like I've followed the fundraiser for a lot of years. So what's cool is being part of it from behind the scenes and getting to see how everything kind of comes together and having a hand in doing that. So that's been really cool, especially as someone who's worked in a lot of management and organization roles in the past. And just kind of like getting behind the scenes of other organizations and seeing how everything ticks is interesting for me because I'm that kind of weird. So.
Okay, and Gray, how about you? What is something that you are excited about in the fundraiser, or that you love that Heifer does?
So when I started this project with you, you told me about all of the stretch goals and things that would happen. And I was like, this sounds interesting. I mean, the videos were kind of cool and stuff, but I didn't really know if they would show up and be there. And as a result, because we weren't sure, Beth and I kind of said, we should make our own stretch goals, right? So we have a few that we've been working on, but at the same time, they have come in from other people. Just this morning, we got a great video from the Tristram family. And it is so freaking adorable.
Oh, no.
Amazing.
Oh, no.
And I can't wait to share it. So I'm really looking forward to, as these videos get added to the Worldbuilders channel, as we reach different stretch goals, as I'm looking forward to sharing those things with the world because they are so amazing.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. And so here we're at time here. We're at our hour. Do any of you have a hard out? Do you need to jump right away? Because we did spin up a little bit. I mean, what we call Rothfuss on time, which was like merely 8 minutes late. So we haven't quite had our whole hour. So I'm going to say, and I can't believe that I get to say it because this is the juicy thing. For one, I will be talking about so much of what Heifer does. It is not just, I'm constantly first if they're like, oh, what Heifer International, what's they all about? And I'm like, imagine a goat, a perfectly spherical goat. That's an old joke. And
I like that, Beth.
And I explain how like the gift of a goat or chickens or bees like can really revolutionize an entire family's existence. You know, how it can take them from people who are struggling to have consistent meals for their children into people who are not just surviving, but thriving and constantly improving their lives, and then going on to help other people by teaching them how to how to take care of a goat. And here is a goat. And then this moves endlessly forward in good ways. And they're like, wow, that's amazing. And I'm like, no, actually, you don't understand yet, you know? And I'm like, they also go in and they help people have clean water. And they're like, clean water too? And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes it's like, it's not just that they go in and produce, like teach them how to do a well using maybe some new technology. What they do is like, hey, you already have some livestock. How would you like to keep them maybe from crapping in the well so much, so that everybody doesn't get real puking sick? Now, I'm kind of being hyperbolic here, but if you need animals for like for a bunch of reasons, because honestly, even small farms really need animals to function well, because otherwise certain things don't get added back into the soil, and then your garden stops working. Again, these people can't necessarily go to Menards and buy a bunch of like factory farm like fertilizer. Like this is something that has happened literally for 10,000 years. Like we have animals and they crap and we use it to enrich the soil. Again, spoiler alert. But there's ways to do that work really well. And there's ways that do that kind of can be bad for the environment. And when I talk about Heifer sharing technology, what I mean is just better understanding of how some things work, not bringing in some sort of magical manure processing machine, nothing big and high tech, just educating people about better techniques for farming. And then also your water gets cleaner. Also, you get more of the things you're already working for. And they're like, wow, water too. Okay. Oh, and it's more ecologically sustainable. Wow, that's a lot. And I'm like, you still don't understand what they do. The list goes, it's like they go in and they teach people how to make biogas digesters so that, the literal crap that these animals produce go into a simple concrete basin, and then it produces methane, and then they get to cook over methane, and that means their children don't need to gather wood for several hours a day, and their house isn't full of smoke. And also that means those children have the time to go to school, and all of that literally comes from a waste product, and the technology is like pipes and cement. And know-how. And so and they're like, really? And I'm like, but you still don't get it. There's so much. And all these next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about what Heifer does. And it says a lot that is still not the thing that I'm not most excited about here, because what I'm most excited about right now. Okay, there's one other thing. It's the fact that, if you're sort of in the position that I have always been in for the vast majority of my life, where you're like, boy, I wish I could help, but I really can't. Times are so tight. Heifer can do so much with $20. Heifer can do so much with $30. And all of us together, we make this happen. So many of the donations that help Worldbuilder raise all this money, they are $20, $30 donations. They're less than $100. I think last time I looked at the numbers, more than half of our donors and half of the money that totally comes into Heifer was from people that donated like $120 or less. By the way, $120, you'll see that number come up a lot. That is the amount of money that is sort of traditionally benchmarked as enough to provide a family education, tools, and training for a goat. But they can do so much with so little. Like for me, $30 was like dinner. It's like, oh, or wait, I can eat some mac and cheese at home. I could take that $30 and a family's life is better forever. But even that isn't the best thing, because right now we have matching money. We have matching money, which is something I'm so excited about. Right now in the fundraiser, we have $100,000 worth of matching money. So this is my final, but wait, there's more. Not only is the charity amazing, not only are we passing along 100% of all the money that comes in, which, P.S., not a lot of all these charities do. They'll skim a little bit off the top. Not us. So 100% goes along to Heifer. And they do all of these things, and they're so smart about it. They do so much with so little, and it propagates into the future. And if you come in now, you get to double up. You know, so if you donate enough for one goat, that's 2 goats. You know, $60 is good for like seedlings for fruit trees or nut trees that help reestablish like habitat and like preserve the ecology of a region or help recover from it. You know, it doubles up. And on top of all of that, there is the fact that we're giving away like literally thousands of prizes, books and games. You get a chance to win this year, not one, but like multiple beautiful wormwood tables that you'll be able to customize. We're going to be talking with Chris from Wormwood in just a little bit here on the stream. So you'll hear the details about that. So right now is the time to come in. Every $10 you kick in gets you a chance to win all these different things. And you make the world a better place.
Pat, can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Along with the matching funds we have there, this year for the first time, when you do your donation, you'll see a little box that says, hey, would you like to check and see if your employer will match your donation? And that's the first time we have that. And I've already seen that work. We've had a few emails with people that have matched those. So please make sure you look for that. And all you have to do is check on it, and it'll let you search for it, and then we do the paperwork. So
this is also one of the first years, guys, that we're doing PayPal as well as Google and Apple Wallet.
Yes! You've wanted PayPal for years, folks, and we had to do it like, we're like, here is the fundraiser. And everyone's like, what about PayPal, the thing I use to do every goddamn thing online? And we're like, you can come over here into this dark alley and use PayPal. And trust us, it'll still go into the thing you like and you're excited about. So like those two things, like systematized, and now here in the, like, it's very good, folks. It's very good. So like your employer helping us match up with these employers, it's so huge. It's so huge. So like, come on in. The charity's great. We're giving away a ton of cool stuff. And we're actually doing it in this dark, weird, bad, horrible year. If you feel rough, you should. It's okay to feel rough. So many things are not great. And it's my opinion that like 80% of the world population is probably suffering from some sort of trauma. And if you're just trying to hold it together and get through the holidays, I get it. I get it the most. But also, I'll say, and I'll throw this out to the chat, people in the chat who have already donated, how about this? Anyone who's donated for the first time this year, maybe even during this stream, after you donated, can you tell us in the chat how you felt? Did you just think, oh man, I could have bought a Call of Duty game with that $60. Now I feel sad inside. You know, I want to hear like, and this is unsolicited. Hey, here's somebody just donated through PayPal with company match. You're killing it. Where can I donate? Somebody drop this personal link. everybody's like, where do I donate? No, that was, yep, there's a link. Follow that link. And somebody here is like, I feel great. And everyone, that great is in capital letters. There's 5 exclamation points. I don't know if you can give a better endorsement than that. But also I'm going to let other people type, and we'll read out a few of these. If in the past you have donated and you remember that first donation and how it feels, feel free to mention that here too. I don't just do this to help people all over the world. And that's how it started. I wanted to do a charity. I wanted to fix things because I compulsively feel the desire to fix everything that I see or hear or am in any way adjacent to. I've kept doing it because the people who donate always say, a lot of them say, this is the best, this is my favorite thing in the year. I wait for this all year. I never feel better than when I come in and help out with Worldbuilders. And that may not be everyone. I can't guarantee it. But trust me when I say, if you're having a rough time and you've never tried doing a charity, first off, trust me, this is a good one. I've vetted them very extensively. Second off, give it a try. And you know what? Here's my guarantee. If you put money into the fundraiser and then you don't feel good, you for real, like, talk to a mod. I will personally refund your money if you don't feel good afterwards. Like, I am that confident that not only will you make the world a better place, not only might you win some cool shit, but like your heart will feel better. And that's a commodity in this day and age. I think maybe we're good there. Thank you guys so much for swinging on by. And
we're just the beginning. You're getting ready for a big marathon.
And everyone who's here in the stream, smash that subscribe. No, there's no subscribe. But feel free to follow the channel. I will be streaming solid for the next 13 hours.
All right.
Oh, and also, if you're like, oh, I donated, what else can I do? Like, maybe give this a share on the socials. Maybe tell your friends. Maybe you're like, oh man, I only got $10 and I'm tapped now. Man, I get it. That $10 is awesome. Thank you so much. But if all y'all wanted to go and tell one friend that you know has a good heart and they could use like kind of a good feeling in their heart, you know, and maybe they want to win a cool thing, come and bring them in. That's honestly the best thing you could do for the fundraiser, other than just putting a little money of your own in. Okay, now I'm going to take a breath, and I'm going to release these kind people who have subjected themselves to being the first on my stream. Gray, Zay, Beth, Jamie, Jason, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Pat.
I release you. You are now free from this durance vial.